Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to do some arm stretches. So that was not very elegant. Anywho, you might want to strap for this one unless you've got very flexible shoulders. Straps are good, straps are nice. It's nice too if you have one that has like a, oops, this camera's not a mirror, like a loop, whatever. You know what I mean? Like a loop-de-loop. If not, that's okay. It's a nice to have, but not a need to have. Other than that, it's nice to have some blankies. That's pretty much all I think you'll need today. So let's get started as usual in our centering posture. So setting yourself up for child's pose or whatever pose is comfortable for you today. And take those first few moments, just get all nestled in. So a couple deep breaths. And really letting go on every exhale. Taking those moments to get into your centering posture. And then taking the next few moments to set an intention for your practice. Maybe that involves some kind of being open to experiences. We'll be doing a little bit of heart opening, shoulder opening, or maybe it's something completely different. Taking your moments to find your intention for your practice. And from here, taking 3 slow, deep breaths through the nose. Really expansive breaths, so getting that oxygen flowing to the muscles. Taking all the time you need to finish up your few deep breaths. And when you're ready, heading up and back into a downward facing dog. So this will be sort of our one strength posture for the day. Maybe walking it out a little bit. And then gently lower through hands and knees. And we'll prepare for Gomukhasana, heart chakra pose. So what we do here, I'm going to step back a little bit onto my mat and then hike up the pants. This one's actually an easy one. It doesn't really require the hiking up of the pants. I always do that before like a challenging posture. I don't know why. I'm very strange. So Anahatasana, hips remain above the knees, if not even back just slightly. And then we walk the hands forward, reaching your forehead towards the floor or a block if it doesn't quite reach. So this is for the shoulders. You can see how the shoulders feel a big stretch here. If you're a little bit more flexible, you can move the chin towards the floor and eventually the whole chest onto the floor. Just a few, I guess, breaths here. It's a little bit challenging to find deep, expansive breaths in this posture. And slowly walking back. And then finding yourself in a comfortable seated position. So maybe that's cross-legged, whatever's comfortable for you to sit in. Then we work a little bit on shoulders and arms. So our first posture, we won't hold it that long. About the same length as our last posture. We'll interlace the fingers, but behind our back. This is one of my favorites. So we'll interlace the fingers and then straight through the arms as much as they'll let you. And a couple deep breaths here. Feeling that nice openness throughout the front of the chest and the shoulders as well, the front of the shoulders. Notice how the stretch increases when you take that deep breath in. And release. From here, we'll work on Gomukhasana, cow face arms, but what we'll do is we'll break it down. So basically don't even think so much about Gomukhasana, just think we're doing some arm stretches. So we'll start by taking the right arm, raising it up high, and then bending the elbow so that the fingers are reaching down the back. The other hand guides the elbow upward so that we aren't slouching, we're lifting up. Being cautious, this is a bit of a stretch here. And this one, whatever feels organic, so don't overstretch, of course. If you're a little more flexible, you might lean away from the arm that's bent and up. So if my right arm is up, I'm leaning over to the left for a little bit of an additional stretch, really nice and gentle and slow. And a few deep breaths here. Maybe you want to come back up again. Maybe lift the heart up. Just whatever movements feel nice and organic, not overstretching, just trying to find your edge, not push past it. We're not here super long, so just a few more deep breaths here. And slowly, slowly, slowly release. And other side. So now left arm goes up, sending it back. And then the right arm guides the elbow, same thing. You might notice, I know for me, this one's more flexible. So just taking your time with it. Maybe this one is less flexible for you, in which case you want to go a little bit slower, a little bit less of a bend if you're going in that sort of organic movement direction. Last few moments. And then slowly, slowly, slowly release. If you're anything like me, if you have tight shoulders, I have to move even slower with my arms than I do my legs because my shoulders they require a little bit of a trust building exercise. They are guarded a little bit. So moving really, really slow is nice, especially with these deep shoulder openers. Remember not to go too far. Respect your body's boundaries. We all have parts of our bodies that are a little bit more susceptible to, I won't even say anything negative, but a little bit more susceptible to things and stuff. So we want to respect those things and stuff even more. Okay, so now right arm goes back, behind, and up. So now this is where you might want your strap. What I like to do, and you might find you don't like to do this, so remember this is not an actual yoga pose. I mean, it's stretching for Gomukhasana arms, but we're breaking it down for a stretch, so it doesn't have to be exactly the way I do it. The alignment must be good though. So with the things that we're focusing on are, first I'll show you the way I like to set up my strap. First I should have worn my hair in a different position, but I have my hand in the loop. I'm just going to actually show you the way I have this here. So I have my hand in the loop, and move my hair that way. And then what I'm trying to do is get my hand between the shoulder blades. Now the way I might do that is actually to find, if you have a fair amount of flexibility, which I know I just said my shoulders are tight, but I've worked on this one a lot. So I've got enough mobility now that I can actually find my elbow with the opposite hand. I've found more flexibility, but not enough for me to enjoy this pose. And then you can draw that arm in and just kind of walk the fingers between the shoulder blades. Now, the alignment part. I want this shoulder to be back, okay? There's a tendency to slouch that shoulder forward. So it's almost like you're thinking about the shoulder blade moving towards the opposite shoulder blade, together and down, okay? And there's reasons for that. I don't want to get too much into that, but it's important for a good, healthy shoulder alignment so that you don't injure your shoulder. We want the top of the humerus, the upper arm bone, to be in the correct position in the shoulder socket itself. So it looks like I'm not doing anything here, but I'm feeling a really great stretch here. Great meaning large, not like feels great. I don't like the stretch very much, but I do feel good afterwards. So we're just holding here and we're breathing. You might even, I know when I lean forward, but still keeping that shoulder back, I feel an even greater stretch. Last few moments here. And slowly, slowly, slowly release. Take your time, take your time. There we go. See, not so bad. Other side. This happens to be my less flexible side. So if that's you too, it's okay. It'll be done before we know it. That's why I love yoga. You do not have to be graceful. Okay. So professional. I have my other arm behind my back now, and I'm kind of like walking it up between the shoulder blades. It's not quite there, so I'm going to clasp the opposite elbow. If I could grasp my opposite shoulder, I wouldn't need this stretch. So now I've got it in place, and I'm just going to cinch up on the strap and hold, but at the same time open up the shoulder that's behind your back. So opening up, lifting up through the heart, and breathing deep. You might notice that on every inhale you feel a stretch even more. So just moving slowly. If you're looking for a bit of a greater stretch, you might want to lean forward. Still keeping that shoulder back. Last few moments here. Really opening up through that shoulder just a little bit more. Couple deep breaths. And slowly, slowly release. There we go. Give your shoulders just a little bit of a second, maybe a couple little shoulder circles. Okay, so the next one, I've got a bit of a tiny space here, so I might turn a little bit sideways. If you have a B mat that's super sticky, it's great for your standing postures, but for poses that need to slide, you might want a blanket or something like that. I'm going to take my right arm, and I'm going to lie on it. So starting on your belly, getting my left arm out of the way, right arm moves to the left, okay? And then keeping the shoulders square. If you're not feeling a stretch already, just wait. So I'm trying to have the arm completely straight out to the side in the direction it doesn't usually go. And then from there, lowering both shoulders equally towards the floor. Slow, deep breathing. Do not overstretch this. So gentle, gentle stretch. You'll feel that like right in here. Just seeing if you can melt a little bit more. And then slowly, slowly, slowly come on out. I really like that one, even though my shoulders are really tight and I'm not super good at it. I still like it. Most yoga poses that I'm not good at, I don't like them. But this one I really do. So other side, my strap out of the way. So now left arm goes out towards the right. Trying to keep, there's a tendency to want to completely roll over. So try to keep the shoulders square as you lower down towards the floor. And hold. Just a little bit longer. See if you can sink and melt a little bit more. And then slowly, slowly start to come out. And we're in exactly the right position for our next posture, which is Sphinx. So I mostly said we'll be working on shoulders today, but a little bit back as well. If you are finding yourself in Sphinx, first of all, let's find ourselves in Sphinx. Forearms onto the ground so that you're feeling a nice stretch in the mid-back. If you're not feeling a stretch here, you might be ready for seal or even closer to cobra. All we're looking for is that space where you feel a gentle stretch and no more. And then the arms are strong, but the back is soft. So you're melting your heart forward. What we don't want to do is just sort of hairpin at the low back, but rather get a nice even curve throughout the whole back. And soften and melt here. Holding, holding. we talk about we want to feel the stretch in the mid back. The truth is you're probably going to feel a stretch in the low back as well. And that's okay. I remember when I first started yoga, I was terrified of feeling anything in my low back. I was so conditioned to be cautious of the low back because as humans, our low backs are pretty susceptible to injury for various reasons. Uh, but the truth is we do want it to become flexible as well. So you will feel maybe a dull ache or a bit of a stretch. That's totally okay. What we do not want to feel ever is a sharp pain. So sharp pain in a joint, not okay. Dull ache it's okay. Okay. And above all else, even if it's just a dull ache and it doesn't feel right, you know you better than I do. So always honor your body. Holding on, this is just as much an arm strengthener as it is a back stretcher. Maybe you can go a little further, maybe not. We'll hold just a little bit longer. Last few moments here. Maybe there's a little more space, or maybe you need to come out just a little bit first. And to come out of this one, let's start to engage the legs and the glutes in the back a little bit. Start to ease up on the arms and let the back support your back. So the back muscles are supporting the spine. Slowly, slowly, slowly. Let's even just stop sort of at our little baby cobra. Hold, 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 and release. From here, pressing up and back, take all the time you need to a child's pose to release our back bend, but move into it slowly, slowly. And come on out. From here, we'll lay all the way onto our backs and prepare for a spinal twist, which is really nice after a back bend. Our back bends can help our spinal twists and vice versa. For this one, you might want to block to support the knees if you're doing a twist, but not necessary. Bending the knees in, we'll do twisted roots. If that's too much for you, just a two-legged twist. Send both knees to one side or the other, or one-legged is a little bit less of a twist or a stretch. I'll walk us through the twisted roots. We'll start with both knees bent, right crosses all the way over the left, and then we'll send the knees over to the left as the hips shift back to midline. So this is the awkward part that happens to be really important. Shift those hips back to midline before you get the knees all the way over to the side. The other thing that's important is to be sure that shoulder is pinned right down to the floor. There's a tendency for it to want to pop up, but it's more important to get the shoulder down on the floor than it is to get the knees down to the floor. The knees can be supported by blankets or cushions or blocks. And then softening into it. And to come out, scoop the belly in, start to press the low back into the floor, unraveling, unwinding, And between sides, once you're all squared up, hugging both knees into your chest, a little rock from side to side. And then other side, left crosses all the way over right. Sending the knees over to the right as those hips shift back to midline. Being sure there's contact with the earth with both shoulders. And then allow the knees to lower as far as they'll go with the shoulders securely on the floor, slowing down the breathing. And to come out, scoop the belly in, pressing the low back into the floor, unraveling, unwinding. Hug your knees into your chest, a little rock from side to side. And our final pose, happy baby, clasping onto the outer edges of the feet, drawing the knees down towards the floor, soles of the feet facing the sky for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. One last time, hugging those knees in. Little rock from side to side if that feels nice. And preparing for Shavasana, you can head right in, supporting the knees. If you need a little bit of extra support for your back, you can keep the feet on the floor. Otherwise, extending the arms and the legs and close the eyes. Softening everything, especially the neck and the shoulders, and all the way down the arms. Letting the fingers softly curl. Softening through the face. Softening around the eyes. And even the muscle between the eyes. Just letting it all go. And if you'd like to stay in Shavasana a little longer, feel free to do so. Otherwise, wiggling the fingers and the toes, and gently roll your head from side to side. And reaching your arms above head on the floor, give yourself a big stretch like you're waking up first thing in the morning, feeling totally refreshed. And bending your knees one at a time. And gently roll over to the right side. Pausing there for a moment as you come back. And whenever you feel ready, start to press yourself all the way up to a comfortable seated position. And when you arrive, palms facing up on the knees, inhale, sitting up tall. And exhale, softly close the eyes. Taking those final moments to thank yourself for showing up to your practice today and taking care of you. And slowly open the eyes. Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in, and I'll see you next time.